And to that piece of lieutenant that's always on his podcast, bashing us, him.
The world is getting more and more upside down. Security at TJ Maxx and Marshalls are wearing police-like body cameras. This is the new policy of these corporations. It's absolutely ridiculous. I always make the comparison between intrusive police work and security police. Forget about police. Security officers. There's a huge dichotomy. When you're a police officer, you have a badge. That badge gives you the right and the entitlement to do intrusive police work, which is based on the Fourth Amendment. But when you're a security guard, you observe, report, and repeat. But now, if you're strapped with a body camera, what are you doing now?
I don't know. Workers at TJ Maxx and Marshall wearing body cameras. To me, you know what that sounds like to me, Eric? That sounds like they took a page out of the NYPD Gaslighting Manual 101. This is going to make you safe. Look what we're doing to stop shoplifting. The camera up on the ceiling is not going to keep you safe. The camera on the security guard is.
When I saw this article, I couldn't stop laughing. I said, this world is getting so ridiculous. This woke and progressive ideology from the politicians has now spread to the corporations. So what's interesting about this is that the corporation wants to give the perception that the body cameras strapped on the security guards is going to keep the store safe and safe from theft. But what they're really telling you is that they're going to keep the shoplifters safe from the security guards. That's what they're telling you.
That's progressive public safety, right? That's progressive. They're not saying, oh, yeah, we're going to prosecute shoplifting, right? Didn't these same stores, weren't they part of the whole, anything under $1,000, we're not even going to call the police, and we don't want our employees to stop anybody, but we're not even going to call the police anything under $1,000. But if we strap them with body cameras, that's sure to stop. That's sure to stop it. He said the TJX, who's the owner of TJ Maxx, Marshalls, all that stuff, the finance director, John Klinger, discusses the body camera initiative on earning calls last month. It's almost like a de-escalation where people are less likely to do something if they're being videotaped. What do you think about that?
This is the most ridiculous article, and clearly he has no idea how police work is. And again, de-escalation is a buzzword. They have no idea. I've actually put a tweet out about this, and I said it's not de-escalation. It's actually further escalation. Here's why. Clearly, the shoplifters, these mass shoplifters, these gang of shoplifters that we're seeing around the entire country, when they go inside a store, don't you think they know that they're being videotaped? That's why they're masked. Or some of them, sometimes they're not even masked. They just don't care because they know that there's no consequence. But now they're going to enter a store, have all the stuff they're taking, and on the way out, they're going to encounter the security guard strapped with a body camera. That's going to stop them. No, what that's actually going to do is put the security guard in danger. So if you want to be a security guard right now to make $18 an hour and put your life at risk because you work at Marshalls and TJ Maxx, you're out of your mind.
I don't even think they make $18 an hour. I think they make like 12. Depending on what state they're in, it might even be less. I think 18, you might be doing all right for yourself. I don't think they're making that much. And to the finance director, John, why is a de-escalation a body camera on the chest? How is that a de-escalation? How is that any different from the entire store is cameraed up as it is? What could possibly be the difference? To me, there's zero. This will have zero impact on shoplifting. Absolutely zero. But I do agree with you, Eric. It actually might be an escalation because now if the security guard's approaching the person stealing with the camera on, now the perpetrator might actually target that security guard and say, don't follow me, shut that camera off, whatever it may be. And you're probably going to see a rise in assaults against security guards, but I don't think it's going to alleviate the shoplifting whatsoever.
You know what the de-escalation is for? It's actually to handcuff the security guard, because we've seen in the past when security personnel, loss prevention, or even just employees intervene in a shoplifting scenario, and what has been the outcome and the byproduct that we've seen is what we've seen is the corporations have terminated the employees for trying to intervene and intercept and stop a shoplifting. For instance, remember that controversial incident that happened at Lululemon? I don't remember what city it was in, but the employees tried to intervene and stop the shoplifters, and when they did, they were terminated. They said that violated policy. So I believe that the body camera, what the body camera is, it's not the escalation. It's not to stop any potential violence. It's to handcuff the security guard from intervening, because the corporations don't care. I worked at Home Depot when I was young, and when they would lose items or certain items were thrown out, they got their money back from the vendor anyway. So these corporations, they don't care. And if they don't get the money from the vendor, they'll get it from you, the consumer.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. It's just gaslighting. It's like the NYPD sitting there telling you crime is down while they're omitting data, while the data that they do have shows that it's actually up. It's like, yeah, no, don't worry about it. Those illegal immigrants that are robbing you on scooters. Now we solved that problem. Like, yeah, but you have 80 active patterns right now of people doing that. Yeah, no, we solved that. We took that down and things over. And that's exactly the note that these private corporations, I guess, are now taking. This is the message to their stockholders and to the people who shop there. This is what we're doing to keep you safe. This is a de-escalation, like you said, the buzzword. I personally think it's absolute insanity, and it will do nothing to curb not only the everyday shoplifting that you see, but what about when you see in the stores and when we have these mass gatherings, when they rush in? What have they done? What have they really done, like as far as from a corporation base, to effectively stop shoplifters? You know, if I go into a high-end store, I go to busy malls, they have the blueprint. They keep 2 security guards outside. They only let X amount of people in at one time, right? You have to wait on a line or make an appointment and be identified so they know who you are. That's the blueprint. They treat their high-end goods. You go to Louis Vuitton, you go to wherever store where items are very expensive, they're showing you that this could be prevented. But these other stores that aren't sell high-end products necessarily, they're not doing that. They're not doing that. They're not doing it. They're not keeping their customers safe, and they're not protecting shareholder money either.
And I also think they're not keeping these security guards safe either. And as you said, you're right. I think I was pretty generous saying $18 an hour. I'm sure somewhere in a small town in America that may have Democratic ideology, they may be making $12 to $15 an hour to put their lives on the line, strapped with a body camera. That body camera is a tool that's now weaponized against you, the security guard. That's what I said. It's to handcuff you. It's also to show if you try to intervene, that body camera is going to display that you violated their own policy. Because for the policy for most of these corporations, it's hands off. You're a security guard. You're supposed to observe, report, and repeat. You're not a police officer. They don't want you to intervene. So what does that mean? They don't want the police. We know this. It's a further abolishment of the police profession.
I don't know what these people are even thinking. Like, I really don't. Like, what do we do to stop people that are doing it? It's not like we don't have this problem in society where people steal. And what happens when people steal? It's not a victimless crime. It's not just, the companies are going to get the insurance money back. Goods go up. Sometimes people get so fed up of the stealing, they don't feel comfortable to go in the store anymore, and they stop shopping in there. And then what happens? You lose businesses in the community, right? You lose things that are necessary. Maybe a TJ Maxx isn't necessary in a community, but things like a Walgreens or CVS or a mom and pop pharmacy, these places are necessary in your community, especially for elderly people, people who don't drive, disabled people. You need resources around you, shopping, food shopping places, things of that nature. And this ideology of hands off, do nothing, where we have zero solution to the problem, only gaslighting you, has done nothing but cause more businesses to leave, property values to drop, and ultimately the cost and the inconvenience falls back on the consumer, the person that actually goes to the store and pays for goods.
Listen, I'm not a big shopper. I don't like to spend my time shopping. Listen, I'm an easy person. Just give me a pair of jeans, give me a black T-shirt, give me a cap. I'm out. That's my day. I'm happy with that. But if I'm, if I need a suit, if I need to go somewhere and I'm going to a high-end store, it's a pleasant experience. But once in a while, I do like to go to TJ Maxx or Marshalls. I'm sure, it's like hit or miss. You go through the clothes and you might find something that's really nice, But right now, if anyone goes to TJ Maxx or Marshalls in a metropolis, it's a miserable experience right now. I don't even know why anybody would want to go to these stores, because you go to these stores and because of the nomenclature of the democratic cities, some things are locked up. Public bathrooms are no longer open because they're afraid people may do drugs in there. The security guard standing there who's pretty much useless, and I don't blame that person for being useless. You have people going in, scouting out the place because they're looking to take stuff. It's a miserable experience. It's become a prison-type experience. So what do? We all make Amazon even richer, because most of us are probably just shopping on Amazon, because going out there shopping right now, it's not a nice experience. It's a miserable experience. Unless you're always going to these high-end stores, which John is absolutely right. John, I agree with you. When you go to these high-end stores, it's a completely different atmosphere, and they do run it properly. The security guards, or their private security, are actually preventing you from actually entering. It's almost like intrusive police work, right? They're stopping the problem before it even becomes a problem, unlike when you have the security guards already in the store when the problem already enters. Great analysis. I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, and I mean, and what's happening? I mean, what's happening is we're making these large corporations go completely digital. Shopping is becoming completely digitized. You go into, almost like if you walked into a furniture store, right? You're not going to take the furniture and leave. You're just going to go look at it. Like, these stores don't need that. They don't need to have a location so that you can see the shirt, because it's not going to be in your size or whatever. They don't need that. They're just like, you know what? Go online. You know what size you are, buy it. And that's what's happening is businesses are shutting down. Pharmacies are shutting down. Food pantries are shutting down. Food places are shutting down. And what happened? Everyone's going online. I'm going to order my weekly groceries online. I'm going to buy my clothes online. I'm going to get my medicine sent to me online. And you're basically wiping out the economy and the ecosystem of a community. Because what is that? Jobs are gone. So people's access to healthcare and money is gone. So how are you going online and shopping if there's no place for these people to work? What happens? The welfare goes up. The society literally begins to crumble. And Eric, I'm not sitting here and saying, oh, if you put me in charge or you put you in charge, we're going to totally eliminate shoplifting. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying, if you held people that shoplifted accountable for shoplifting, people would be less likely to do it. There would be a lot less people that would do it. It would make shopping a more convenient and cheaper experience.
Right. So who's the only one being held accountable right now? Not the shoplifter, but for TJ Maxx, Marshalls. I'm sure these other big corporations, I'm sure Walmart will probably follow suit. Who's being held accountable? This poor security guard that barely makes a decent salary. So now what interests me about this is data. Where does this data go? Who watches it? Just like the police department. Why are they watching it? We talk about transparency. What are they looking for? Are these corporations going to do an audit? Are they going to watch it? I mean, this poor security guard who may be outsourced from another company, right? Because they're subcontracted. So this poor security guard has to face supervision from the corporation, from the security business that he works for or she works for. And this body camera is going to be critiqued. Who wants to do this job? I tell you what, you should refuse these jobs unless they become high-paying jobs, because you're putting yourself, also the security guard, I think, is also putting themselves in the position of civil liability.
Yeah, and when we were prosecuting people, I remember as a kid, as a youth, twice around Christmas time going to the Staten Island Mall, and I believe one time to the Kings Plaza Mall. And twice right around that time, I observed numerous people running out of the mall as we were pulling in with goods and running. Right? They were running for their lives because they knew the security guards were chasing after them. Security guards at that time would stop you and hold you and actually put you in handcuffs to wait for the arrival of the police. So they ran. These were not common occurrences, but even that always stuck in my head even as an adult now. And when it gets around Christmas time and my kids or someone like, oh, can you take us shopping? Can we go to the mall? I'm like, nah, Wait till after Christmas dies down, we'll go. So even that deters even myself. And I'm not afraid of those people. I would have had no problem pushing that person to the ground or anything like that. The environment of it itself, I don't want to put myself in those situations, and I certainly don't want to put my family in those situations. So around those times when I go shopping during Christmas time, I go by myself. When my wife's like, "Oh, it's Christmas, I just want to go shopping," I'm like, no, wait for me. We'll go together. Because I don't even feel comfortable with her going by herself into those environments. Where normally in a time period that's not so crazy, like around the holidays, she goes to the mall, she goes to the mall, she goes shopping, I don't even think twice about it, but around that time, that's in my head. So that plays on the psychology of shoppers too, where they're going to see people robbing and stealing things, and they're like, I'm not coming to this place. I don't need to see this. This isn't how I want to live.
So also, what I'm curious about is how is this going to work with the police department? Let's just say, rhetorically speaking, a couple of shoplifters enter TJ Maxx, Marshalls. There's some crazy theft going on, and then maybe someone in the store, not a security guard, just someone in the store happens to just try to intervene, and that person, God forbid, gets killed. There's some type of incident. So now we're going to also need the body camera from the security guard, right? Because it's potential evidence. How do we get this body camera? Do we need a subpoena? Is TJ Maxx and Marshalls just going to turn it over? Or who's going to be responsible for that body camera? Is it TJ Maxx? Is it the security company? So these are a lot of questions that I think that have not been actually thought out by TJ Maxx and Marshalls. And I'm curious if they've convened with the police departments, the local police departments, to figure out what is going to be the exchange of information so that we preserve evidence if there is a potential incident.
So, I mean, they're pretty good in cooperating. I think these stores, like as far as when it comes to the NYPD, Target, all these stores, they'll give you the tape. But I think you're right. It brings in a lot of different scenarios now. What if there is no body camera? Does that hinder now the ability for the district attorney to prosecute? Is that just one more thing they're going to use? Oh, well, we don't have the body camera from the security guard. It's like, okay, but you have the camera from up top. What do you need the body camera from the security guard for? Well, it's part of my checklist here, and they said we can't draw it up without it. It's like, okay, but you have the camera of them saying they shoplift. Oh, and by the way, I had him sign I read him Miranda, and he signed an affidavit saying he stole the stuff. And I have an affidavit from the security guard saying he observed it, right? And he observed them steal, right? Yeah, no, but we don't have the body camera. We can't prosecute. I think there's going to be a lot of different nuances that's actually going to hinder prosecution and cause more of a problem getting this video. How does this video now? Does it take time? How do we get the body camera video to where the police department's going to have it now? How is that going to be sent? All of that, you're creating this whole other logistical new need for more of an information share with private business. And it's a hindrance. It's going to cost time, and it's going to cost money on the New York City Police Department as well as on the taxpayer. I mean, any police department and the taxpayer.
Well, that's why I wanted to bring this up because it's a logistical nightmare. Why is it a logistical nightmare? Because now in most democratic cities, we have bail reform. What's part of bail reform? Discovery. The discovery has to be turned over to the district attorneys within a certain amount of time. So that's exactly why you brought up that point, which is great. We must reflect on. If the body camera from the security guard is not turned over in a certain amount of time, do we lose that case? Or exactly what you said. If we don't have the body camera, maybe I don't know the quality of body cameras that they got, but maybe the body camera was down that day. Something happened with the battery. We don't have any body camera. Do we lose the case? So these are questions I think that have not been answered. I think TJ Maxx and Marshalls believe it's an easy fix. It's all part of this woke ideology. The corporations have went woke. The politicians went woke. The whole country's upside down. And this is reflective of not seeing the big picture. And this is how cases start to get thrown out. This is a major problem. This is by far a huge problem. That's why I'm sure most people are not looking beyond the surface of these body cameras. Most people are, what's the big deal? They wear a camera, who cares? But it is a big deal because you have to look at the inner linings and the silver linings of a security guard wearing a body camera.
Yeah, it's gaslighting 101. They're doing a great job. I mean, listen, they're doing an absolute great job of, hey, don't worry about it, shareholders. Our products are secure, our profits are secure. And it doesn't appear to be, because obviously there's something going on behind the scenes. I'll tell you right now, I'm going to look at my portfolio after I'm done. If I own any TJ Maxx or Home Goods or any of that, or any of these corporations that are into these woke policies, I'm dumping it. I'll tell you right now, I'm going to put it into places where I know they secure their goods and they actually have common sense solutions. Again, the camera up there is no good, but the camera on the chest, that's going to help. How, why? This ideology of de-escalation and all of this other nonsense, these buzzwords that come into play, they fail at one question, right? That's the question. What is the difference between the body camera on the chest or the body camera on the ceiling? Is there something more to this? Are we missing something? When Eric brought up a great point. Most of the people that come in and steal just wearing masks. They put a hood on and a mask. They walk in the store. Nobody says anything. Oh, because you never know. They might be sick. It's like, oh, wow. How about this? They also might have an AK-47 under their hoodie and it's 90 degrees out and they have an N95 mask on their face covering their entire face. I think if we were able to ID these people, that would be more of a hindrance. And I think the body camera could help if we enforced mask policy. I think then the body camera could help. Now, all right, because now you could sell it to me a little bit. All right, the body camera is going to get a closer shot of the face. You're going to get more of the features. We're going to be able to the public's going to help us to identify them. You could sell it to me that way. But when you're letting people come in with masked up, you're not selling me on that. I'm sorry. So you see my N95 closer? You see the duckbill on my face come in? Like, what other measures are they doing besides this? They're not taking any other measure.
I agree. So I was thinking, okay, if we're going to use the body camera for facial recognition purposes, that may be a component, right? But that's not what's happening here, right? Because ultimately, what is the body camera used for in policing? It's for intrusive police work. It's to analyze an encounter between a police officer and a potential adversary, person of interest, or just an engagement, right? That's the whole ideology with New York City behind the How Many Stops Act, right? It's just any engagement with a police officer that could be analyzed. So we're talking about most democratic cities that have these woke policies. Where is a security guard posted in TJ Maxx and Marshalls? Where are they posted? They're posted normally at the entrance of a store. So this is why I also say we're putting this person in danger. So do we actually expect a security guard who's strapped with a body camera to stand there while a gang of thugs enter? Let's say a gang of 20 thugs go in with bags. They're filling up with videos and all kinds of stuff in let's say Marshalls, TJ Maxx, filling up with clothes. 20 of them are running out. Do they expect the security guard to still be there? Because I would find hard pressed to believe if that security guard is smart, he's going to leave and go to the back of the store and say, you know what? I'll wait till they're done. Now, that's why I say the only time I think it could be effective is if people were entering the store.
Your mic, dude.
What, my mic? Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
I don't know why that keeps happening in the middle of the show. Sorry. So, what's interesting about this? So, I would say if you're wearing the body camera and someone walks into the store and you're challenging them to say, show ID, maybe, do you have a credit card on you or do you have cash today for a purchase? Or to recognize if there's someone that has been a subject of shoplifting at that store, maybe tell them, well, listen, we don't permit you to purchase stuff at the store. We don't allow entry. That's the only time I see that the body camera for a security guard would be appropriate. Other than that, there's absolutely no reason for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. I'm totally against any form of facial recognition whatsoever. I do not want my face in a database, but to identify people, 100%. Like to put out on a wanted poster because I committed a crime, 100%. But I don't want to give these corporations or the police departments my biometric data. I don't want you to be able, there's no need. I committed no crimes. I'm going shopping at your location. I shouldn't have to give up my rights and my freedoms to come there and spend money to fund your organization. So I would support it if it's used for that purposes. And again, I go to Costco a lot, right? I go to Costco a lot. I buy a lot of bulk goods. I buy a lot of bulk steak. For those of you guys that are steak guys, I buy the big thing of ribeye. I cut it up. I foil the rest of it, and when I go there, I buy a few $100s worth of stuff. I walk up. There's 2 security guards. They check my purchases, and they let me go on my way. Right? They're not so physical. They're not so intimidating. If I wanted to, I could just run out. But you never see that there, because there's some type of it's a mental barrier, because it appears there's so many people there. There's security guards at the front. There's security guards when you walk in. There's security guards when you leave. There's only one entrance to come in and one entrance to exit, and it deters a lot of things. Now, are they aggressive? No, they're none of those. But I've been in Costco hundreds of times. Do people steal from there? I'm sure people steal from there. But they're not doing what we're explaining. They're not just running in, grabbing, and running out, because that's creating like a mental barrier where people are like, you know what? I'm not going into the store. I'm scared. They don't need body cameras on their employees.
Well, I'm glad you said that, right? That's what people don't understand. Sometimes the art of policing is knowing how to move people without touching them. That's why when we did a prior podcast talking about the incident with the police officer that just stood there and did nothing while his partner was fighting, there was another police officer that showed up, and he had a good base. You could see his body positioning, good observational skills. He was watching the crowd, and he was moving his adversaries without touching them. That's a skill. And that's what they're doing in Costco, is the security, the design that they have, the way it's set up, is they're moving people without touching them. When you have a security guard in TJ Maxx or Marshall's just standing at the front, it's just a show. It's totally useless. It's just a complete show. It's totally baseless, and it does nothing to improve security or loss prevention at that store. It's just totally a waste of time. And I think TJ Maxx and Marshall's, they just pay it because they believe, well, you know what, we'll just say we have security here, and it's just some form of presence. But I don't think they put any thought into this at all, and there's absolutely no research. And ultimately, do these corporations really care if people are stealing from this store? Do they really care?
I don't think they do. I think the whole thing flops on its face. I think it's complete nonsense. I don't think it does anything to deter shoplifting. Like I said, I think it's gaslighting. It's trying to protect stockholders' perception. Right? This is the perception and reality game. That's all this is. It's the perception and reality game. And I think we should just leave it there, right? We should just wrap it up at that point. It's just TJ Maxx has entered the realm of the NYPD, where we're playing perception versus reality. They're trying to change your perception that people don't steal from their store. But the reality is people do steal from your store, because if they didn't, you wouldn't be trying to do this. I'm going to put a camera on my employee's chest because the camera in the sky isn't as good as the camera on the chest. I think we wrap it up there. Guys, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Like we said, we're going to be hitting you with a lot more content week to week. Eric, you got anything before we wrap up?
No, I think that's a great point. It's interesting to note that that's what we're seeing from the leadership of organizations. That's why I say leadership is so important. It's not just the NYPD. It's not just other police departments throughout the country, but it's in corporations, this leadership of fighting the truth. What we say, perception versus reality. Stay tuned with us. New York's Finest Retired Unfiltered Podcast.
Law enforcement professionals dedicate their lives to serving and protecting our community. But who's protecting their financial futures? That's where Laidlaw Blue comes in. Our wealth management platform is specifically designed for the law enforcement community. Laidlaw Blue is a division within Laidlaw Wealth Management, run by retired New York City detective John McDermott. His status as a retired detective uniquely positions him to establish a deep connection between Laidlaw Blue and the law enforcement community. Our platform is easy to use and provides a range of financial services, including investment management, retirement planning, and insurance solutions. With Laidlaw Blue, you can secure your financial future and provide for your loved ones. Our team of experienced financial advisors understands the unique challenges and opportunities that law enforcement professionals face. We're here to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning and achieve your goals. Laidlaw Blue. Secure your financial future today. Book a meeting using the QR code displayed or call us directly on 888 901 Blue. That's 888 901 Blue.